Hi, how's it going? No messing around this week, straight onto the reviews. Amazing Spider-Man 568, great issue. They had an all-star team with Johnny Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson, and both masters of the field for years and years. And I'd only ever heard of Dan Slott through the Great Lakes Initiative and Deadpool Summer Spectacular, which was very funny. So I thought, if there's going to be a bit of that sense of humour brought back into Spider-Man, I can't really argue with it. I, like many other people, ditched Amazing Spider-Man and basically Spider-Man altogether, except for Ultimate Spider-Man, when Brand New Day happened. One More Day was a travesty and a crime against comics, and I almost promised myself that I would never buy another Amazing Spider-Man while they were doing this 3 times a month Brand New Day thing. But as most of you will know, it's a long process for comics, and when they probably saw that they were doing something wrong, it takes 3 or 4 months from picking the writers and whatnot to actually getting a basic script to actually the finished product. It's a long process, so they probably saw sales went down and thought, hang on, we have to do something about this. Put an all-star team on it, some great artwork, bring in a new symbiote, you can't go wrong. And they knew how much this issue was going to sell. 1, it was a double-sized issue. 2, it was $3.99, and obviously there was about 8 variant covers. So whenever they do that, it's going to be a complete sellout, simply because they're just providing the material out there. We open up on this Ditko-esque artwork, which kind of just simply tells the backstory of Amazing Spider-Man since the very beginning. And for some reason, there's no web marks on the red part of Spider-Man's costume. I don't know if this is just laziness or whatever, but it's the only bit of the comic that pissed me off. And it goes on to this recap, what's been happening in the past 6 months with the new villains, what's been going on in the Daily Bugle. We see some familiar faces, Ben Ulrich and Robbie Robertson, but I think this is just basically for the benefit of the readers that they've lost since One More Day, and who would be picking up this issue. And out of nowhere comes this fantastic piece of Romita artwork, absolutely classic Spider-Man, and it calms all the fears that you might have had that maybe this isn't going to be all it's hyped up to be. One of my favourite things about the whole comic is that, there's constant cameos, if you will, from the surrounding characters. We've got the Thunderbolts, we got Daredevil propping up, we got obviously Ben Ulrich and Robbie Robertson, and it just almost secretly or subversively promises to the reader that there's going to be good things to come. We're going to go back to the old way. We've done something wrong and we're going to try and fix it. This was actually probably my favourite bit in the whole comic. I love the artwork and I love the attention to detail. The way that Luke Cage is the 70s Luke Cage in the card, and then obviously when the dummy's there, he's not. At the end of this comic, even though it's a big enough story already, there's a little backup story by Mark Waid and Adi Gravnov, which is a complete change in tone, artwork-wise and writing, and it's absolutely brilliant. We get a completely different perspective to what's going on at the moment, and well worth reading. We still have to wait and see if Marvel have actually saved Amazing Spider-Man. Looks like they could have done, and we don't have to wait that long to find out because it's coming out 3 times a month now. So far, well done, Marvel. X-Men 501, absolutely phenomenal issue. The cultural references in this are just impeccable. It's what makes the story for me. If you ignore that, the story is still completely great, as is the artwork. But what I really want to get into is these cultural references. It's called the issue itself is called All Tomorrow's Parties, which is a reference to the Velvet Underground song. And the lyrics particularly resonate towards the end of the story. It's really well done. Sometimes these things can come off a bit cheesy, but this is well done. Funnily enough, All Tomorrow's Parties was also the title of one of Grant Morrison's Invisibles issues. There's also references to Macbeth, but my favourite thing is the introduction of this new female villain called the Red Queen, which we would think to be the leader of the Hellfire cult, but the name the Red Queen is just brilliant. Now, obviously, this Red Queen is very dominatrix-like, and nothing like the Alice in Wonderland Disney version, but it does come from the same place because it comes from this theory of sexual evolution that, which is a line from Alice in Wonderland, that to stay in one place you have to keep running, and it goes into the fact that to keep your species alive, to keep up with the diseases, new surroundings and whatnot, you have to keep reproducing. And to put something like this into a comic that's meant for everyone, and a mainstream comic rather than indie, is, you know, extremely dangerous, and yet very, very applaudable. I can't believe they got away with this, and yet it doesn't affect the story in any way. If you don't want to look at this, if you're an 8-year-old, you pick this up and you don't see this little tidbit of intellectual information, it doesn't affect the story in any negative way whatsoever. But for people like me who recognise it, it just completely blows the story up, and it just makes it completely, absolutely, amazingly great. Very, very quickly, Captain America, brilliant issue. Lot of action, lot of things going on. Really, really deep stuff as well. I'm not going to go into it too much because if you're not buying this, you're not going to understand at all what I'm talking about. Go out, when it comes out, buy it in trade. I'm pretty sure Brubaker and Fraction are currently having some kind of competition or bet to see how many times they can mention Euros. And Bucky's playing poker with the Falcon, and you know, he's saying, "Oh no, I want this money in euros," and I don't think anyone else has noticed that. So it's just me. I'm the only one paying attention apparently. But it's very, very good. The only nitpick I have at the moment is that the little narrative boxes that used to be in the top of the comics, different colours depending on who was currently narrating that particular part of the comics, that used to chop and change a lot. They're no longer there because a lot of the time now the characters are working together. So that's just a minor thing though. Finally, Iron Fist Origin of Danny Rand. Really disappointed with this. It had the main writer as Matt Fraction. He wrote 2 pages, literally 2 pages forward. I looked on the rest of the credits, you know, and I thought, hang on, Gil Kane is on there. I'm sure he's been dead for about 8 years. And he was. And, you know, it's just 2 badly coloured reprints of Showcase 15 and 16. But I'm going to forgive Marvel because even if it was a money-making scam, the other 3 comics that came out and I bought were phenomenally good. So that's all I have to say about that. On Thursday I'll be having my Underground comics and Blast from the Past and whatever. This is crap. That video will be up, and next weekend I promise I will do my new comics. Thanks a lot for watching. If you